this last one would be nice.
It is 6:10 p.m. and we are now met as the American Fork City Council in a special session. And I'm going to conduct a roll call for the public record. So, Councilmember Hunter.
Here.
Councilmember Holly.
Here, and I'm calling in from Stuttgart, Germany.
And remind us what time it is there, Councilmember.
It is now 2:11 a.m.
Okay, all right. Councilmember John.
Here, Mayor.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Tater.
Here.
Okay, item number 1 is a review and action on a resolution approving the disbursement of fiscal year 2024-2025 park tax funds. This is, again, good, a lot of time. Appreciate everybody that's here from the Park Tax Committee. Who, I see 2 of you. Is it just the 2 of you tonight? And I see people that have applications in. We appreciate you being here. As a part of our budget, we need to balance this out as well. So, any discussion points by the council that we want to consider?
Yep, I'll start.
Okay.
Everybody looked at me, I'll take it. There's a couple things that I wanted to just bring up that I think, they're mostly in harmony, I think, with the recommending body's suggestions, and the time and energy that they put into this is exceptional, so thank you again. The first one, I made mention of this in our work session when we went over this, but the Maven Cinemas recommended monies, in my opinion, didn't necessarily qualify. It turns out they have yet to, as I understand it, they've yet to come through with that, and so I would make a recommendation that we reallocate those monies elsewhere. The suggestion that I would probably what I would go for is allocating the $8,200 that was for Sensory Friendly Series and putting that to the teen area renovation at the library. Those are dollars that it's not fully funding it, but it's again adding to it. It's a similar kind of a thing as far as it definitely goes within the. So their number would go from 20 to 28,200, and then there was an additional recommended amount to Maven of $10,000 for the mini movie club summer program. I would suggest that be broke up in 3 really different categories. One being there was $2,500 for programming for Wasatch Music Alliance, bringing them a little closer to the number that they had requested. That would give them, a little closer to the number to help with their programming. There's another $2,500 that would go, in my recommendation would be to going to programming for the corral. Neither one of those are fully funded, but it is within the same category. I would suggest in events, cultural events, and then the other one that I think would be well recommended is taking $5,000, which would be the remainder of the $10,000, and putting it towards the Steel Days drone show. Those costs have come in higher anyway, and we weren't funding that fully, so it's kind of a happy medium of splitting the costs of that between the group that's putting it together. But again, another cultural event there. Any questions on that before I dive into the others?
Let's just pause there for a minute,
Okay.
just to say that's, and that would be as it's been stated. Is there any? We'll approve it.
There'll be a recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just want to see if there's any. I think if we get too far out, we'll have to come back and remind ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. I like that, Mayor, and this year, I don't have any conflicts of interest, so I don't have to recuse myself. My daughter's not playing in Wasatch Winds, and my wife is no longer affiliated with the corral, so I have no conflict of interest. I think that's great. I think being able to keep those funds toward cultural where they initially shook out is a good idea.
All right, if nobody says anything, I'm gonna move on and just say, okay,
You good with that?
all right.
Yeah, I'll just mention, if I am remembering correctly, the corral, the committee tried to give everybody about at least as much as they did last year to try to keep, knowing that there was some inflationary expenses, but still trying to keep them the same. And the corral was one of the few that went down, as well as Still Days drone show. And they both went down by a small amount, but with us putting a small amount back, that probably would keep them whole.
Thank you for mentioning, that's great.
Yeah.
The other one that has been a topic of discussion is the boat harbor. We've talked about
Yeah.
that. There's revenues that are there. We have a project that's 90, I don't know the math, but whatever percent complete. We had talked about allocating money to the south side trails. I think it was a portion of that was going to go, and it was really undefined maybe as to really what that was going to look like. Personally, I think there's probably some value in seeing that maybe a little more clearly defined. And then if we can take that money and reallocate that to finishing a project at the boat harbor, I would really appreciate that, because there's some specific numbers that it can target. We could go into those specifics if we want, but my recommendation would be to subsidize that would allow us to finish off these park amenities at the boat harbor. There's some Trex decking, there's some, I want to say some,
Rockscaping,
yeah, there's
pergola, yeah, it's amenities.
yeah,
It's
it's
not fence.
essentially, it's park amenities essentially to finish off that project. So that would be my recommendation, that's split up among 4 things: pergola, shade, security roll door, Trex boards on the dock, and then the rockscaping that Councilmember Jones suggests. So that's the recommendations that I have, that are different perhaps than.
And having walked on the dock this week, it could, those tracks would be really,
Appreciated.
it's needed, yes.
We have such a good thing right now. It does feel a little bit unfinished.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple comments on that. One is, I don't want to misspeak or put words into the committee's mouth, but I think from what I recall, if they would have had more details about what the funds would be used for, they may have considered it differently. And we can ask them, if there's a question of it, we can ask them to speak on that. That is what my takeaway was from their comments. My other is a question. The recommendation was the request was 68,000. And this is more than that, right? How much? Not much more, but 73,000. Would you want to put all of it towards the boat harbor?
I would put 68,000 towards the boat harbor, and then there is these park amenities. There's a remaining, what is it?
Okay.
$5,763 that was underfunded already to the tune of
Okay.
like 1/6, as
Okay.
I recall, of
Okay.
the amount. But this would allow us to put a little bit more into park amenities.
Okay.
I agree. The Park Tax Committee's done a great job, and don't want them to think we're stepping on their toes, but we got more information than from the last time you guys presented to us.
Yeah, that's
And
all
I
new.
think that's,
So did they.
needs to be said, yeah.
Yeah. I hope that's in keeping with the harmony. I think they're, again, not that recommendations are to be considered mandates by any stretch. I don't think that's your expectation either. So, but I do feel like it's in keeping in the harmony of the suggestions and the hours of time and dialogue that have gone into this. And so I'm really looking forward to these additional guidelines that are going to be coming that'll help everyone, including, the recommending body, but it'll be awesome. So if, I don't want to maybe jump ahead, but
I think we've kind of hit a pause point now with what you've stated, and I want to make sure everybody understands that.
Yeah, in our motion, Heather, do we need to list everything that Ryan said, or can we note everything that was talked about and agreed upon in council meeting?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that, as long as it's sufficiently articulated for the record in the minutes.
okay,
Giddy up.
giddy up.
Giddy up.
All right, so with that, Mayor, I would recommend approving the disbursement of fiscal year 24-25 park tax funds as allocated in the prior document with those recommended changes. I want to say I could add them up just to be sure. 1, 2, 3.
I think it's as long as it was the items that we talked about and agreed
In the-
upon.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
We have minutes. Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Hunter,
I'll second.
a second by Councilmember Carroll. I'm going to just pause there for a minute. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Mayor, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm going to put you out.
Okay, just as long as everybody can hear. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. Is the Alpine Community Theater, did we all come to an agreement to keep that in the disbursements? Because I know we talked about possibly not having the Alpine Community Theater be part of it.
It's listed as item number 2. I've got it up here on my laptop for $8,000. It's in there.
Yeah, it's in there, Councilmember Holly.
Okay, so because I know there'd been some discussions in the work session about potentially removing that, and so if we're going to keep that in there, I'm totally fine with that. This is maybe separate or something, but I was just noticing that inside the notes and the provided document, the Part Tech recipient agreement is from 2023. So I just wanted to know, has that document changed in any significant way what the recipients of these funds are going to sign for those who receive money?
Not since those.
So we will do a separate agreement for each one of these recipients for the new disbursements. So there will be a new agreement signed by each one of these recipients,
With updated dates?
updated dates and amounts.
And nothing significant, like none of the legal language or anything has changed in any meaningful way. That's what it's going to look like, pretty much what's in the packet.
No, there's no content changes to the structure of the agreements. It would just be the amounts and the dates.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's all I had, Mayor.
And then we also talked about, after this, going back and making sure to clear up the things like participating inside the city and all of those things. So
Yeah,
as
I
long as we
expect that
make
will
sure
come
we
back
do that.
In a work session. And
Yeah.
give some clarity to that, and we'll make modifications if needed to the
Yeah,
to the
just so
actual
it's
ordinance.
cut and dried where possible, and yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay. All right, have a motion and a second, and I am going to call for a roll call vote. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember John,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Holly,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 2 is review and action on resolution approving the proposed certified tax rate. Anna, can you tell us, for the record, what it is, and then tell us when you actually received that? And just having to have that and how you calculate from that point forward.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the Utah State Code requires that we adopt a certified or approved tax rate, certified rate by June 22nd of the calendar year for the next fiscal year. The certified rate is a rate that generates the same amount of property tax as the prior year, so it is revenue neutral, other than new growth coming into the city. We are not adopting a new tax rate. We are proposing to adopt the certified tax rate as provided by the County of Utah. We received that last Tuesday, and so it's before you as a certified rate, revenue neutral, and required to be adopted by June 22nd.
Got all sorts of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't been scrambling at all. Mr. Mayor, if I could,
Yeah.
on that certified tax rate, Anna included it, the tax rate value for American Fork just kind of stuck out this year $5,280,997,057 is the valuation, taxable valuation of American Wood.
And as that valuation goes up, our tax rate does go
Our
down
tax rate
in
goes
order to
down
make
to
the
remain.
tax revenue neutral.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That just number was kind of scary.
Pretty incredible. Yeah.
Mayor, I would move to approve the resolution accepting the Utah County Auditor's calculated certified tax rate for general operations and tort liability and setting budgeted tax revenue for interest and sinking fund bond at $582,638.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Taylor, second by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion on the motion? A call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember John.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Holly.
Aye.
Item number 3 is a review and action on a resolution approving the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026 city budget. So Ann, I'm going to ask you, again, these are on-the-spot questions. Will you just, for the public record, review the processes that we've gone through, how we started, where we ended up, where we are today, and some of the stuff in the middle, all right? You can do it better than anybody. That's why I'm
I
asking.
will try, yes. So this adoption of the budget is a culmination of about 6 months' worth of budget meetings, interdepartmental and council. We started our public meetings in February with our budget workshop. We've had 3 separate budget work sessions, council work sessions, 2 in March and 1 in April. We had a budget open house on May 6th and invited the public to attend to ask questions, get to know the budget. And then we had adoption of our acceptance of our tentative budget on May 13th. The budget has been on the city website, many opportunities to attend these public meetings. It is a balanced budget per state code. We are required to adopt it by June 30th. We, just as context, we had many, many needs, greater than we had resources to fund them. So departments are very accommodating to meet citywide strategic goals in order to fund the most necessary items. We tightened our belts as much as we could in order to get that balanced budget. So before you is the budget. There were a few changes from the tentative budget that was adopted on May 13th. We had a reallocation of a couple public works employees. There was no net effect on the budget, citywide budget, but we did reallocate between utility funds into general fund for those positions. We also added the 5-year capital improvement program to the final budget. And so those are the 2 main changes. No changes to FTE from the tentative budgets to the final. Everything else stayed the same.
Okay.
Did that
Yes.
help give a little context?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always good to look back and all that
Yeah.
hard work and time spent, reach to the public. So, all right, questions the council has?
Mayor, I just have a comment if I could. This is one of the things that I did not anticipate coming onto the council is how much time is spent on the budget. Thank you, Anna. That's all I just wanted to say is your time and effort. Well, I know, but we're the recipients of all your hard work, and so, yeah, we go through it, but it's not the same as putting it all together, so thank you. It's a Herculean task, and you and your team are to be commended, so thank you.
What's astounding, Anna, is that you appear to even like it.
Someone has to.
The numbers talk back less than you and I.
Yeah. That ain't hard.
You know, I would have to say it's probably the single most important thing we do. Now, that's accumulation of a lot of meetings, listening to the public hearings, everything that goes with it. But this vote right now is the singular most yes, yay, nay that we do. Because it really does incorporate priorities, things that people have talked to us about, how we've come together. We do it with decorum and respect for each other and try to meet all the needs. It's not always easy, but here we are. So, yeah, thank you. Anna, I think you should take a few days off.
Yeah, yeah, this is.
You need some vacation, so.
Mr. Mayor, I think it should be noted that, unlike the federal government, we don't just add on to last year's. They tear it down from scratch and build it back up.
Good point.
And look at our community input, and our residents' input. They build it all back up and then we go over it, so.
And we actually balance the budget.
We
Yeah.
balance
That's
it,
what I
yeah,
was gonna say.
yeah. And so tremendous work.
Yeah.
David, man, thank you.
Mayor, I would move to approve a resolution adopting the American Fork City budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending July 30th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember
June 30, I apologize.
Oh, June 30th, 2026.
July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Taylor.
Second.
By Councilmember John. Any discussion on this motion?
I didn't get to make a comment, and I just want to say my also thank you. And I will just, for the millions of residents that are going to be watching this video.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Coughed in.
I really want people to know that we take this as our singular job. Like, we understand that allocating the funds, the tax funds from our residents is our paramount work. And being responsible with those funds, making sure that we're doing things in the most fiscally responsible way is how we do this. And the fact that it needs to be balanced, we would balance it anyway, and yet I think we should be proud that we live in a state where all of the cities balance their budget, and it makes it much more stable. So I'll say that.
And it's completely transparent. You know, we talk
Yep.
about the work sessions, we talk about the open houses. It's all out there for everyone to be able to participate, look in, investigate, ask questions. And that's awesome. So,
All right. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. I'm going to call for a vote. Councilmember Holly.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
aye?
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember John.
Aye.
Okay, item number 4, we need to keep machines moving on Automall Drive. Putting this in here so we can not interrupt construction in a vital parts of our city. So item number 4, review and action on the approval of the change order. So number 3 for Automall Drive Extension Project awarded to Landmark Excavation Incorporated. Any questions? Sam's looking awfully comfortable back there, but we can pull him up if you need him. So,
I'd love an update on the project, Mayor.
oh,
There we go.
limping?
Got a bit of a spring in his step.
So yes, an update on the project. We currently have all of the water main installed on 100 East. This change order was actually a portion of that. We had water main in the area that was new on 100 East, clear down to 400 South. It was an oversight when we initially bid out the project, but then it was brought to our attention that one last piece it would be nice to have done. So we submitted the change order to Landmark to kind of take advantage of the opportunity cost, to have a contractor on site, as well as try to minimize the amount of disruption to those folks down in that area. So that's what the change order is for. The water main, like I said, in 100 East is going to be complete. They're finishing up a tie-in and then should be tying over all the services to the homes. And then the contractor will move back towards Automall Drive and work to start putting in the utilities there. We ran into a lot of water down in that area, kind of a shock to some, not to others.
To others.
Really?
Yeah, they actually, we found a few springs that we weren't aware of, so we also had a previous change order to put in a French drain to try and direct and lower that water table in the area so we can start putting in that roadway and get that all finished up. But as far as I know, they're still on schedule to have this buttoned up in September. So, yeah, that's kind of an update on the project. And 100 West, the other large project that's just a little west of this one is moving as scheduled too. We should be getting close here. I think that water main is passed as well, so they'll be doing the tie-ins services, and then before too long, we'll start doing the actual asphalt portion of the work, where we'll bring in cement and treat the base, shape it, and then pave it. So that one should be done before 100 East. And then we're constantly working with TSSD further south. They're looking to pave, I believe 100 East in just between 15th and 11th is going to be open. And then they will go back and pave 15th South, at least up to 580. And then that will be open, completed, and then they'll continue to work west and make its way around with, I believe they're trying to cross the river a little bit later in the summer. So that project is moving as well. But yeah, they can't get out of here soon enough. Yes. Anyways, any other questions?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam, appreciate it. All right, there's no other questions.
Mayor, I'd move that the city approve change order number 3 for the Automall Drive Extension Project in the amount of $331,552.10 to Landmark Excavating Incorporated.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hunter,
Second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember John,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Holly.
Aye.
Okay, item number 5. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved,
So
Mayor.
moved.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hunter.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Taylor. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you. Time and effort.
Councilmember Holly.